Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Do you know what, Drew? All of a
What?
sudden, I'm feeling a bit Christmassy.
I think you must be referring to the old face fungus, the old,
Yeah,
I'm growing it.
yeah. Well, we said, didn't we, that the quite often changing faces of us and the beards and moustaches and what have you. But no, you're looking you're looking almost a little Father Christmassy, if I might say so.
I am. I think it's on its way. I mean, it's sort of, sort of semi-Santa, I think is the way we can, no, I'm aware. Yeah, that came out wrong, didn't it?
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, very wrong. Oh dear.
God. It's supposed to be a guest episode and we're broken already.
Yeah, dear.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening rather than watching, it's me and Semi-Santa. Yeah.
Wrong in many ways. Yeah.
Oh God, it's
right. Put yourself together. Come on now. Put yourself together,
Yes.
Danny. We come on, Sam. We do have a guest.
We do have a guest. We have a wonderful guest, a lovely lady I've worked with on a couple of occasions, who has been kind enough to find a little gap in her mental schedule to fit us in. But before we get to that, very quickly, how are you, mate? How's things going? I'm joking about Christmas, but genuinely, both of us are now full flow working into that.
Yeah.
Halloween's literally just gone, and we're straight into the next thing. So,
yeah. I'm. We've been we've been auditioning and casting. So we have our Santas, our elves, our Mrs. Clauses, etc. I'm in the middle of set building and decorating. So yeah, full flow. It's and pushing out the beard for Santa. So yeah, we're all And how about you? Are you growing the whiskers for
Yeah, so I'm back to
the
Captain Hook this Christmas, as previously mentioned. So I've got a bit of basil work first, so I think I'll grow a full moustache.
Yes.
Do a bit of basiling in these next couple of weeks, and then it will trim down to the fine lines.
Oh, the fine line. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to it, obviously. But
Great.
But yeah. So yeah.
Good stuff.
It's funny that we should talk about Christmas. I mean, it's not, but I'm specifically talking about what I'm doing this Christmas because the person we're about to speak to knows far too well about me being Captain Hook at Christmas because that's where I met her last year. And we're going to get the chance to work together, and we worked together fairly recently as well. But rather than sort of spoiling all that and going into that now, I think it's better if we let her in, chat to her, and then we can find out all about it. And I'm really looking forward to this one, mate. I don't know about you.
Fantastic. Well, will you do the honours, Sam? Will you?
Of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you at home, on the road, wherever you happen to be watching or listening to Drewling Samantics, Drew and I are here, and now we are being joined by the very lovely, the very talented Miss Rachel Fullegar.
And good morning and welcome to the wonderful Rachel Fullegar. How lovely to have you with us, Rachel. I have to say you are looking amazingly perky and bright and smiley, given the fact that you have to work with this reprobate and lunatic, Mr. Sam Dunning. But welcome, as wholesome and as wonderful as you look. It's lovely to have you with us, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We've started early then, if we Drew. This is straight in there. Wow. Rachel, feels like it's been forever since I saw you. Oh no, wait, it was a few days ago.
Yes.
But yes, so we are joined by the wonderful Rachel Fullegar, choreographer, director, producer, artist extraordinaire, who, as Drew so eloquently put, has had the joy of working with me on a couple of occasions. one of which being the most recent Halloween show that literally completed last week. Have you recovered from having to see my face on a regular basis? That's the most important thing.
Well, clearly not because I'm here and
Oh,
I'm
well,
hosting
that's
an episode
true.
as
Yeah,
well.
glutton for punishment.
Good Lord, woman.
Yes.
Don't start saying things like that because you will never get rid of him. I said that 4 years ago, and look where we are now.
Still going. But yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
I mean, it works both ways. The fact that we've worked together numerous times also reflects back on the fact that you are a joy to work for and with. And I felt the need to show all our lovely watchers and listeners what an amazing talent you are and lovely person. And so, to kick us off, can you tell all our wonderful listeners and watchers exactly who you are and what you do, please?
Oh, well, the easiest way of putting it is that I'm a choreographer, performer, and I was a lecturer for about 10 years at a dance conservatoire in the north of England. But I'm mainly a woman of many hats. I say yes to many things and do most of them as well as I can, but have made some, questionable choices over the years. But yeah, I started off as a professional dancer and had a very interesting sort of journey through my training and came out the other side thinking, I don't think I ever want to dance again. And and recovered from that moment of madness, and have had this really strange, curvy career that's taken me to some amazing places. And I think what it's sort of been defined by is that although I think in movement and choreography and dance, actually it's been applied all over the arts. And I've ended up doing photo exhibitions and graphic novels on wallpaper and lots of theatre and visual art, lots of live art, sorry. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a chameleon in this whole thing.
Wow,
I,
that's an
I mean,
intro.
that sounds, people we I don't want to get stuck in a rut and I don't want to get tight. You obviously have managed to do that wonderfully. I mean, Sam just said you've done the Halloween show and you're working on the Christmas show as is probably 75% of the business at the moment, preparing something somewhere for Christmas. We'll get
Yeah.
onto that in a bit, but I mean, we haven't. Sam, do you realise we haven't had I haven't had a choreographer on the podcast? So to the
Whatever.
world of dance, no, we haven't.
No, you're right. What?
We know we haven't.
Take our
This is
choreography virginity, please, Rachel. That is. Oh, it's got weird
no,
already. Drew, it's
no,
done.
Sam, no. Leave it.
And then,
Just
Just
leave it.
strike you off the list for next week.
That's it. Yeah, tick that. You'll never work again after that, Mr. Daly. But
no,
so you started you say you started as trained and danced and that and then was there one moment where something went, oh, that is really interesting, that took you completely off that path? Was there a
Well,
moment where you went, oh, I'm no longer a dancer, but I'm doing something else now?
yeah, so to sort of go back a little bit, I never thought I was going to be a dancer. I didn't do the whole, lots of people who go into dance, they do ballet, tap, and modern from really young. I did one 45-minute ballet class a week and I was the like little sunbeam in pantos and things like that, but really did not do it. I was very academic at school and was my school really wanted me to apply for Oxford or Cambridge. And so I went on a shadowing scheme because, they used to pay for people from state schools or whose parents who hadn't been to university to go to, don't know if they still do it, to go to Cambridge and experience what it would be like and shadow someone there. And I went and I was very much on that path. And I was paired with this woman, Tess, and she was brilliant. And we had a lovely time exploring all the English literature things that we could explore, because that's what I thought I was going to do. And she said, what else are you interested in? And I said, well, I've realised I've just really liked dancing. And she went, oh my God, I got into RADA and turned it down. It's the biggest regret I've ever had in my life. You should do it now.
Wow.
And
wow.
I went, oh yeah. So I rang my mum that night and was like, the thing is, I really like dancing. And my mum just went, yeah, all right. And so I came home and decided, threw all that away and decided to apply to dance schools with no knowledge of what that was going to be like. Really unprepared, very, very raw. I had no idea. Did all of these auditions and only one place gave me a place, which was the Northern School of Contemporary Dance. And it was on the foundation year. They kind of said, you've got something, but you're so unprepared for this. You need a year's to get you up to
Mm.
speed. And did terribly that year. Did absolutely terribly. Awful. I was in a great group of people who were incredible and have done some amazing things afterwards, all of them. And I auditioned and got nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And I in the last week of doing that course, I thought, right, I've had this wonderful year and I'm going to go home and do English literature and it's fine. It's fine. I've tried it.
I tried.
Yeah, and we part of that sort of graduation week for that foundation, a professional choreographer comes in and works with you. And then the last rehearsal, I kept coming on stage, and every time I walked on stage, he said, "Rachel, I don't need you in this bit," and cut me. And I was in 15 seconds of this 25-minute piece. And I went in the toilets and cried. And then was like, it's okay. And it's okay because they've chosen a couple of choreographies to go alongside this big, professional choreographer's piece that have been done by the classmates, and I'm in one of them. And no joke, it was a minute long, this choreography. And I did the show thinking, wow, this is a lovely way to say goodbye. Did this choreography, went home, went to sleep. And I woke up the next day to loads of text messages saying, oh my God, you were amazing last night. That my gran can't stop talking about you. And I thought, oh, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. And they had this thing called the last ditch audition. And I went into Northern and it was just me and another person doing like what they called the last ditch audition, which is if you had been on a course there and you wanted to go stay on the degree, you could come along. And so I thought I'll just do it because one last chance. And I got all the way through and I sat in the interview because they, cut you along the way at the very end of the day. And they said, Rachel, to be fair, we just, you know, wrote you off a bit. But you can't perform like you did last night and expect us to let you go. And so they let me onto
Wow.
the degree. So I had this really weird start where I never quite closed the door on another life.
Mm.
And I think I knew very early on that I wasn't the best dancer and I wasn't going to be. It was difficult for me to do it because I was way
Mm.
better than everyone else. Things about my body. I had actually had an injury I had to navigate through my training. And so because that happened really early on, I wasn't desperate to be exactly what they wanted. And kind of that allowed me to explore other things. And so I started going, oh, well, it's funny. Sometimes when I open my mouth and speak on stage, everyone laughs. So I might do that a bit more. And maybe I'll dress up as this character, or, I started sort of pushing at the boundaries of what dance was. And then we had a change of leadership, and someone came in who's the most amazing educator, amazing woman, who just sort of was like, I see what you're doing. Keep going. Like, I don't know what it is, but you need to follow whatever this weird thing you're doing is. And gave me the permission really to open the door to actually a lot of theatre. And that's kind of where I stepped out into. I was never going to be that professional dancer that kind of performed all those nights a year and did these incredible things. That just wasn't going to be my path. So
Mm.
yeah.
I
Wow.
think that's that. I mean, that's the honesty to yourself. Again, I'm not going to do that, and but I mean, like you said, it gave you permission to do all those other things and opened up the door to other stuff, which is, I
Mm.
think sometimes when, and I experienced it myself and I watch people, when I was training, we thought, I was at a, very big drama school and it was like, you're going to do this, 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 and this. And I was sort of like, well, I'm not quite, I'm a bit of a square peg in a round hole. I think I might have to just keep going where I am. I don't know where I'm going. And I watched, and a lot of people that I train with have fallen by the wayside. Some are still performing, but a lot of those that were dead, sort of, you can't come off that path. They've stayed with it or they haven't, and a lot of them haven't. And I've gone, I don't quite know where I am. So, I'm allowed to try that because I'm not doing that. And I think, and more to the business, the way the industry is nowadays, even more people have to go, you have to be prepared to, or willing to have a go at anything because I think the industry demands that of you.
Yeah, you have to
And
be flexible and adapt to survive,
yeah,
really.
absolutely. And simply sitting, the three of us. Now, if you look at what we all do, and what we're all doing this Christmas period with the sort of work. I don't think any of us where we started would have thought we would be here, but it is just it's just like it's like a month out of your life, and you think let it happen. It's fine. It's going to be fun. So
Yeah.
So is there a and I don't mean this in a negative way, but is there a slight satisfaction, almost like a fuck you, like you'd rip me off, to then go that full path, then admit we were wrong, and then in we're talking far down the line, to then come back and lecture in dance at the place that sort of had gone, well, no. Like how what talk about that.
How did I get there? Well, uh, no, I never really did. I never. So, in the background to all of that was that when I was there, there was a leadership which was really awful. And when this amazing woman, Janet Smith, came in to take over, it just transformed the whole thing. And so I really had this, and she was so supportive that I really had this feeling that, like, I didn't need to do a fuck you because he'd already been booted out the door, and got rid of basically, and all of his team that were behind him were got rid of because it was toxic, it was an awful environment. And
Yeah.
we're not talking that long ago, really. What we're talking like 17, 18 years ago. So, the dance industry's really tried to change since then. Um, and I actually, by the end of my degree, all I had been supported so well that I had the confidence to be like, okay, even though this is very different, there is something to it. And the school were really good at me. And so I was trained with the people that I run a company with, Graceful Collective, and we were all in each other's work. And the school sort of like, oh, keep doing this thing, and gave us lots of platformed opportunities. But also, we were in Leeds, so the Leeds Playhouse, which was West Yorkshire Playhouse at the time, a live art organisation, a festival that was running in Yorkshire, were all coming together and being like, oh, we'll support you. This stuff is good. We'll support you. So even though it was sort of weird and wacky and not quite dance, and nobody in the beginning was like, well, I can't label this. It's somewhat comedy, it's somewhat dance, it's somewhat theatre, some of it's live art. There were other organisations that were really willing to give us investment actually and to write our first Arts Council bid for us. And we sort of jumped off from there. So it was because of those opportunities, there was also a lot of dialogue back and forth between me and the school. And because I was very academic, I had enjoyed the sort of thinking around dance. And actually, only a year after I graduated, they invited me back to start teaching on some of the more theoretical modules. And it grew from there. And I was sort of in this position where the more I kind of went, oh, yeah, sure, I'll teach that choreography class, or yeah, we'll do that commission for you. We came back and worked with the students whilst we were sort of making our own work and starting to tour. The more work I got until it was really regular. And so I did 6 years where I resisted a contract because at
wow.
that time they were like, you have a contract, you've got to do Monday and Tuesday every week. And I was like, no, I'm touring. I don't want to stop doing this patchwork of stuff. And then eventually they were like, well, legally, we're going to give you a contract.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, the pandemic really facilitated. They were like, I tell you what we'll do for you, Rachel, which I am so grateful for, is they gave me a contract that kind of every month they worked out the hours I did, and it shifted between like zero point 0.4, zero point 0.6, all of that, so that I could go, well, I'm going off to tour for this bit, and so I'll disappear for a couple of weeks here, and then I'll come back and I'll do more of this. So it was this real, they really worked hard to integrate me. And by that point, sort of 6 years in, the students thought I was there all the time. I was a regular feature of everything. So they kind of acted like uh, they could, access me for lots of other things. So it was sort of a necessity as well that I thought kind of came properly onto the staff team. But they were really, I think, because I was allowed this opportunity to kind of try and test and fail, they were like, oh, the mindset there is really interesting. And actually, how can our students benefit from what I had experienced, which was, that actually what an artist should do, which is kind of really test, constantly play and test and fail.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah.
build your own self and know what you want to do. Um, so yeah, they and amazingly supported me to understand how to teach, which is a whole other skill.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I did some teaching at excuse me, at Arts Ed
yeah.
in Turnham Green. A friend of mine was directing there, and she said, "Would you come in and do some mime and some movement stuff, and clowning, which I used to do a lot of." And at the same time, I was rehearsing a production of King Lear um, at a little theatre, Tabard Theatre next door. So I was sort of having classes, doing some classes in the morning, going off and rehearsing, and then maybe getting a day off, and then going in to from rehearsals. And these poor kids, they were. I was working really hard with them. They were working towards a production, so I was choreographing and we were working out these long mime sequences. But also at lunchtime, when we sat in a corner, quietly trying to, jam Shakespeare into my head and then getting slight. And I came in. I remember coming in one morning and I had a bit of a dodgy afternoon's rehearsal the day before. Things just weren't settling, so I was a real miserable shit. And once someone popped up and went, Drew, is it? Yes. Is there anything you need to? And I'd done that with them. I'd gone, okay, guys, is there anything you need to talk about? Because I think we've hit a wall. And they reversed it on me. And they went,
Oh,
do you need to? And basically, this class of 20 students, we rehearsed. And it was really good because we used this scene from King Lear that I wasn't handling well. And it was a lovely moment of collaboration because
mm,
they then went, that was really helpful for us to see someone who is working on a professional show having problems,
yeah.
and we learnt how to deal with it. You didn't know that, but we learnt more watching you struggle than you going, oh, everything's brilliant.
I
So
think that's key. Like that role model mentor type relationship is really important in artistic work because
yeah,
you have to see the practicalities of people doing it. And it's not like you learn the tools and it's easy, then you bash out the work, you know.
yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It's a lot of hair pulling at points and kind of trying to figure it out. And you have to be able to have show that bit of vulnerability that actually allows you to problem solve. It sounds
Mm.
like that was a massive impact on those students. Yeah, that's
It seemed to solve something. I don't know. It was great. It
yeah.
was a great moment. So it got me on the right track as well. So went to rehearsal the next day
I
and went,
think our
okay, this is 20
industry.
people's opinion.
I think our industry and what we do, you can almost liken it a little bit to like learning to drive. Like you first get in a car and you learn the mechanics of it and you learn how things happen. But until
Mm,
you've actually passed your test and you're out on the road on your own, you don't
yeah,
really learn how to drive.
yeah,
Because at that point you're like, well, I've got to learn out what that wanker there's going to do, unpredicted. Like
yeah,
it's being in a controlled environment's great because it allows you to perfect your skills or to work on things. But when you go out into the real world to do stuff, that's
yeah,
when all of a sudden it's a bit scary and you go,
Mm.
oh yeah, well I could definitely deliver that line in that way, but only if
yeah,
it's fed to me in a certain way. Or I could do this kind of performance, but actually I've always done it in a studio with a mirror so I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm out open air in a field and it's raining. I'm going to have to make that adjustment. So I think, and it's true with a lot of industries, like theoretical doesn't always translate easily to the reality. But I think particularly in what we do, and what you guys have both just said, there are elements there of going. Until I was there doing it, I didn't actually realize where I could take it.
And I
Yeah.
think, you know, Sam, we've spoken, you know, many times about like the so the role that I have when I'm working with you as team leader and performance director, and to have, I think the thing that I've really learned along the way is that collaboration, you know, happens on all different levels. But if you hold the structure, then you allow these chaotic things to happen in the middle, and you allow for that failure, and you allow for there to be these real moments of like, we need to throw this out and we need to do this new thing. If you don't, the environment of a conservatoire is like a bubble and it's really safe. And then you kind of like let the walls go down, but you still need the people in the middle who kind of hold it together loosely, to allow artists to like really do their thing and still be learning on the job because we're all learning on the job all the time.
Oh yeah.
if we weren't, then it would be boring as well.
And nobody's
I
perfect.
remember my
Nobody gets those things right, do they? So
yeah,
Mm.
no, exactly. I mean, I remember my very first morning in a professional show. It was weekly rep, and there were hugely experienced actors surrounding me, and we're all doing this high pressure. You've got a week to get this show on, um, and I remember sort of going on thinking, oh, I'm working, yes, I'm working, and then standing at the edge of the stage, going, but nobody's doing anything that I recognise.
Yeah.
I don't recognise this. I don't. I did, but it's like this isn't the room that I've done this in before, you know.
Yeah.
And it took me the morning, and it was lunchtime, and someone came up to me, a lovely actor came up to me, guy called Hugo Meyer is a wonderful. If you listen to Hugo, thanks for this because he went, forget everything you've ever learned and just do it. Just
Yeah.
do it. He said, you know you can act. You wouldn't be here if you couldn't. He said, now just, he said, and more than anything else, he said, enjoy yourself, you know.
Mm.
And I went into the afternoon's rehearsal and just went, now,
Mm.
now I recognize things because I'd taken all the shutters away and gone, you know, this is, you know, different room, different people, same shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Just do your job, you know. And it was, you know, and I've given that, you know, advice to other people and go, just do it. Don't worry about it, you know. And you can do all the theorizing you like, but in the end, it's just you and a script or a performance, and you got to get on with it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Totally.
Rachel, you touched obviously on the fact that we've worked together a couple of times and talking about your position in that. Give us a little bit of an explanation of how you came to that point now, and essentially explain who, and I've mentioned them a couple of times, but not to the extent that you'll be able to, and explain, being that your involvement has been far, far longer than mine. Let's talk about Rusticus Arts as a company.
Yeah, so back in 2014, I replied to a advert on Arts Jobs that was like, we're looking for people to do outdoor theatre in East Yorkshire, and applied, and they had a very honest conversation with me, and they were like, well, we've never worked with a dancer before, we don't really know what to do with you, but come along to a rehearsal, come along to a rehearsal day, sort of audition day. And I don't really remember anything about the audition, but John, my boss, said that I did the funniest run he's ever seen. No, I can't remember doing that at all, but apparently I did a funny run. And he said, "Well, come along again. We should still, something's funny, so we'll use that." And did a rehearsal day, and I think they were still figuring out what the company was going to be at that point, and working with this amazing place run by the council called Surrey Hall and Gardens that were just interested in growing their audience base, particularly with young families. And so we were doing this outdoor promenade performances, one-handers, two-handers, switching up characters. It was very silly, very sort of like um, witty, improvised. We'd sort of turn up and have a loose outline of something um, on that we'd, you know, just. I was working with some great people, some really experienced improvisers, and so I learned loads from doing that. Um, but really, again, because there was this question mark over how on earth they were going to use me, they kind of just put me in everything to see how I, the guinea pig to see how I
Yeah,
ran. Funnily, apparently.
yeah,
But I, I the more I did it, and I find this the most lucky thing is that the performances were so loved by Stu Sewerby that we ended up doing them in loads of other venues across Yorkshire, and then it spread and spread and spread, really to lots of venues all over the country. Um, that I got the opportunity to perform with Rusticus. I could have done like 100 days with them a year at one point. Like we were really churning out being at places, and because there was a core group of us, I was getting a lot of performance experience. So really cutting teeth in a practical way, like we've talked about. And I have always been someone who likes to, make sure that, you know, cross the T's and dot the I's. So feedback at the end, making sure everything was away in the right place. So, simple things about logistics, make sure the costumes are in the right places and stuff. And gradually there was this kind of like, oh, maybe Rachel could do a bit of project management. I sometimes would write the shows. So they'd pay me to do a day of writing, I sometimes direct people. And when this opportunity came up to work with Culture Creative and Raymond Gubby and Sony on these big Christmas events, then actually there was a logistical and practical need for there to be team lead roles in these places, that those jobs needed holding because Bex and John, who run the company, couldn't be in all these places at once to do.
No.
Yeah.
And so those of us who'd worked with the company a long time kind of put into these roles. And we've been doing that for about 5 years now. So there's more specificity about what that role is. And I kind of see it in two things. One is I have to sort of be the conduit between the actors and the clients. So trying to understand what the client wants and help the actors understand that, and also like practically make sure they can do their job in the space. So I'm cleaning the toilet sometimes, or like running around grabbing water or unlocking doors. But also, that sort of directorial role of like, this is, I think, how audiences are responding. So we're going to tweak this. And then I have to sort of explain how that's working to the client, bring them on board, whilst understanding that they might have, box office type figures that they need to, take into account. So it's this kind of complex role, which on the surface looks like I'm kind of, freezing in and going hello, but it takes a lot of thought behind it. But essentially, what I feel about that is that I get to do this really magical thing at Christmas, which is to create, help be part of a creation of a kind of world, these amazing, incredible sets in these beautiful buildings, with a live actor that people get to play with, like actually have a bespoke interaction with.
Yeah.
And that's just you see adults become children in nice spaces, and I
Mm.
think you don't get that. You don't get that in everyday life. It's permission to play.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel very grateful to be a big part of that through Rusticus.
So it started, obviously, as you said, with these sort of smaller events, and now you personally, you're managing three or team leading three this
See
Christmas,
this
but
Christmas, yeah.
Rusticus have double figures across the country, I guess, when you add up all the, or close
Think
to.
so. Yeah. I mean, Halloween there was so 8 team leads, I think. So lots of different sites. Yeah, it becomes this like extra layer of logistical operation. So we have this really good relationship with Culture Creative now, and we're starting to kind of like have a look at where that could develop and go, because, it's a commercial thing,
Yeah,
and
of course.
light trails are now a big part of what we understand happens at Christmas. So
Yeah.
there has to be a revisiting of what that then you do to make yourself competitive amongst, Blenheim's biggest competitions like Chatsworth. So there's a lot of that kind of like, where do we go next? And we really believe in real people being there to
Yeah.
respond and be on the trail. And they become the favorite part of people's Christmas.
It's sort of like
It,
the
it's in.
third element, isn't it? So pantomime being perhaps sort of the longest running or the most recognised Christmas tradition.
Mhm.
You put closely behind that your grottos and your Santa experiences, as obviously Drew you're doing a lot of in the past few years. And I think the light trails and the outdoor experiences, although not all of them are outdoor, of course, but the perhaps those magical extra little world, they've sort of become, as you say, synonymous with Christmas as well. And you've almost got some people maybe want to do one of each, or you've got this. How do we? Not that you want to compete or take people away from other things, but how do we make people come and do this, which perhaps isn't quite so traditional as panto or a grotto? How do we make people go, I want to do something at Christmas, but actually I want to go and do that rather than going to a panto. So a really sort of unique space to be in, fighting against the big boys, but doing very well in that area.
I think. I mean, for me, it's kind of an extension of where we are. Because Panto, is the Christmas equivalent of the theatre that goes on for the rest of the year. Then you got that sort of your Santa Claus. People have sat on Santa's knee and gone to department stores and had their present with and a photograph for donkey's years, but they don't want to sit still anymore. They want to take part. So
Mm.
you suddenly your grottos have got bigger. So now you have a story for Mrs. Claus. You make gingerbread. You get your present. You play with the. Suddenly there are elves there interacting with you. We got half a dozen elves that interact with everyone. We've got a train ride, that's like, oh, for goodness sake, it's a train ride. We've got huge costume reindeer outside, and
Welcome.
so it's that is it. But then, as you say, as Sam said, it's gone one step further. People don't want to; they want to go. Okay, I want something else now. So,
Yeah.
like we've seen Secret Cinema and the Peaky Blinders shows and all those big shows that people get involved in. Your light experience and things like that. They then become their own characters, and I
Yeah.
think that's where it's a reflection. I think where the industry's gone and where people's wants and likes have taken them. But I was listening to you there, Rachel, and it was like, oh, I just do this, I'm here, there, and everywhere. You're basically still choreographing, aren't you? You're
Yes,
just
yeah.
sitting there choreographing, but just on a massive scale. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, the magic of Christmas is, I think, I was just trying to think of that, it is magic. The magic of Christmas, I think, when you're involved in it and you work really hard, as we all do, and it is hard work. Panto is hard work, it's graft. But there are those moments you step back, and I still step back and go, this is lovely, as I'm
Yeah.
sitting there as Santa, and
You have that
and there
satisfaction,
are
don't you?
moments, and you go, oh, actually, all the hell is worth it, and I'm right in the middle of hell at the moment, So, but it's really, it's gonna be lovely sitting there and and having looking at those little faces.
Yeah, I
And
really do believe that we are, to not get too philosophical about it, but we're upending expectations of how you're supposed to behave in those spaces as well.
yeah,
And I think, people go into Blenheim Palace and it's like, don't touch the books, don't touch the this, behave. And actually we're going, okay, come and misbehave a little bit with us.
yeah,
Come and do something kind of that feels a bit cheeky and sort of different. And also, the first year we were there, I think they were very taken aback because I had, grandmas doing ballet, following sugar plum fairy down the room, and kids doing the worm on the carpet with the nutcracker, and they were like, "What are people doing in these spaces?" But actually, those places need to adapt. They
Yeah.
they have to be um, fit for modern audiences who don't have the airs and graces of 300 years ago.
they need to live, don't they? They need to
Yeah, they
breathe
need to,
again.
yeah, and they need to play and be enjoying. I say public spaces, but of course it's not quite public space.
Somewhere in between.
A whole other podcast. But but I think it's really we're doing this really lovely thing, which is connecting people to a sense of childhood and play, um, as adults. That's the moment I sit back and I go, oh look, the small child is going, wow, but the adults are also trying to do a sword fight with Hook, or they're,
Yeah.
or coming up and they've prepared their line because they've been 2 years before and they know they're about to meet the character. So they're like, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to say. It, I find that wonderful. And I think that's why now I realize after sort of a big career that actually I'm not quite interested in dance. I think it's people. I like people. And as long as I get to work with people and be creative and make something exciting happen, that kind of what leads me into all these other things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what a sentiment as well to be able to sort of go. And Drew mentioned there being in the Christmas hell at the moment, the preparation stage. And can I say again, thank you for giving up your time because you are currently trying to organise 3 sites for Christmas because yeah, why wouldn't you? You're absolutely mental. So very aware that you have got to run on, but we've got a minute or two left. Can you, and you know what I'm going to say, we have a tradition at Drewling Samantics. If we can, we like to fit in a very brief, silly, funny, unusual, something story, anecdote. Have you got something you can leave our listeners and viewers with before you disappear back to the world of Christmas?
Yeah, so it racked my brains a bit, but I did a job years ago. It was a TIE type tour, and it actually spanned over 4 years. We did lots of different like mini tours over the 4 years, and I met one of my absolute best friends doing it. And she's a fantastic dancer, wonderful community facilitator, incredible human being. And we had a lot of very funny things happen over these 4 years. We were in primary schools. One of my funniest experiences was that she was wearing a thong, and the thong came up over the back of her trousers. The whole performance, it was so visible that I was, 250 children in this hallway, male teachers at the side doing this kind of like, she had no
Cartwheel at
idea,
key.
doing the
Yeah.
whole thing with this big thong out. And it was, she was blessed, absolutely mortified, but it was just all, I'm sure everyone could think about as it was happening. And it wasn't a great show. So I'll leave it there. It wasn't a great show. It was very DIY. We, at one point, we were supposed to have a bike. We had a tiny wooden stool. And she said, I'm going to get on this stool and I'm going to ride all the way back to my house. And it was just ridiculous. A real cringy moment. But it really hard to stay together. But the one massive memory I think about a lot is that we had done a show in the morning in a school and we were doing a show in the afternoon and we decided to go back to our hotel on the Isle of Man in the middle to like really quickly have lunch, get changed. So we got in and then we realized we were going to be late because we had to get across the island, which isn't far, but we ran all the way down the stairs, causing quite a like bang, 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 bang. Ran through the bar, ran through the reception, and ran up the road towards this car. And the hotel manager came steaming out of the door, shouting, "Thief, thief, thief!" And they thought we'd stolen the charity money, that we'd come in, run and stolen the charity
Oh,
like pot on the side of the bar. And so then we sort of turned around and he was like, because he knew us really well by that point, because we'd done 4 years of work there. He was like, "Oh, girls, I just thought you were stealing from me." So we were like, "We have to go. I'm sorry." We ran back and cleared it up afterwards, but it was like proper, it was one of those jobs that I loved very dearly because you kind of you do everything yourself and it's great and I loved working with my friend, but because you're doing everything yourself, these things happen. And yeah, we did not steal the charity money. I just want to make that clear.
I mean, acting can be tough at times financially, but we haven't sunk to that level of stealing from the worst.
Some people, yeah.
no,
Amazing.
brilliant.
Oh, what just some incredible stories and equally, I mean, obviously we've spoken a lot, we've worked together for a little while, so I know a lot about your backstory, but there's some stuff in there that just kind of makes you go, wow. I'm not trying to say it's an against all odds story, like defying everything, but the adversities and the sort of setbacks within there and the way you've taken those to make your career what it is, I genuinely think it's inspiring. So thank you for coming in and sharing that sort of stuff. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there listening and watching who suddenly think, well, actually, I didn't think this, or I've always written this off. But it does go to show that just because something initially seems to be going a certain direction doesn't mean that can't change. But yeah, wow, wow,
Yeah.
what a guest! What a
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rachel. I mean, yeah, as Sam said, really inspiring, and it just goes to show that, just people just don't settle for one thing. If you think that you can change, you're not stuck in this thing. So yeah, very inspiring. Lovely to meet you. And again, look, you've been on the podcast. You spent half an hour, 35 minutes with Sam, and you're still smiling. And you've had to spend time with me as well. For goodness sake, this woman can take anything that's thrown at her.
well, yeah.
I'm resilient. If anything, I'm resilient.
I
That is
think
what
you
we
show
strive
that
for here.
hands down. Yeah.
That's what we aim for. Our guests enduring us.
Yeah.
Uh, genuinely, Rachel, it's been an absolute pleasure. Try and enjoy some of your day, but I know how manic and how much you're dealing with, and the thought of having to work with me again in a couple of weeks is probably just as bad as all the rest. So yeah,
No,
good.
it's lovely because otherwise I'm doing a degree in occupational therapy alongside all of this as well. So,
Oh yeah, just to throw
these
that
joy
in
days.
on the side, doing a degree as well. Like,
Okay, well, you're gonna have to come back on and talk more, Rachel. That's it. You've just booked yourself a recall. There
yeah.
we go.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, absolute joy to have you on. Thank you so very much, and yeah, see
Thank
you very
you.
soon. Take
Take
care.
care. Have a good Christmas. Bye.
Drew, I think we've been spoiled, certainly over this season, over the entire podcast, by having incredible guests with amazing stories, fully just the level of articulation and the things they tell us, and the passion. That is sort of gone without saying across the board. But if it's even possible, some of the stuff Rachel's just said and the way she's talked about things has taken it to a new level. Like, genuinely amazing, the story and the progression and where she's at now and the things she manages to do, and what she's fitted into her career in what is a comparably short time, I guess.
And great honesty, really, and as you use the word inspiring, really inspiring honesty, and for people sort of, if they are sitting in the middle of their careers going, which way do I turn? She said it, turn any way you like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's really, really refreshing.
And without sort of being the whole blowing smoke up our ass, genuinely lovely to work with. Like, really, really accommodating and like just very efficient and reliable as well, which all sound like very sort of boring words, but they are integral to doing those roles that she does, managing multiple sites, looking after actors, as well as being creative at the same time. I just a brilliant professional and lovely person to work with, and I am thrilled that I'll be back working with her again this Christmas, in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah. And speaking of a couple of weeks' time, mate, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be done. We've got...
Well, we will, yeah. I mean, that was our last... Rachel was our last guest of the season. We've got our last You and Me episode coming up, and then
best
we're into the best ofs.
The inevitable mania that is Christmas, which I am very much looking forward to, as I know you are. But it's been a brilliant season, certainly from a guest perspective. We've had some amazing people on, fabulous stories, mental stories. If you haven't watched Ralph's episode yet, people, do it, because there's a big story in there that will live on in Drewling Samantics history, I'm sure.
Yes.
Nice little link as well. We had Ralph on, and Ralph has also worked with Rachel and will be working with Rachel again at Christmas.
Nice.
So, lovely way to round off. Rachel was absolutely brilliant. Definitely one of my favourite episodes of all time. So just lovely to hear those stories. And back next week. We'll round things off. A nice end to season 14. It's a bit mental, mate, isn't it? I don't know where time goes sometimes.
I no, and it's interesting because the season's gone really quickly, and now we've got that rush, as you said, the rush up to Christmas. It just seems to be almost running away with it. It's like, slow down, I'm enjoying it. Don't want to get off yet, but
no, exactly.
We'll have another season,
Well, at least one, if we're allowed to come back. If the numbers look good enough and we want to keep doing it, maybe.
Yeah, no one's going to stop us.
Yes, no. So until next week for our finale of the season, have a good one, mate. I know how mental it is. But I'll see you very soon. And everyone else at home, or wherever you happen to be, thanks for joining us. We'll see you then.
See you soon.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.